Trying.
Why my moderation view is bad.
Oh, so we're having a battle for our values right
Yeah.
now. It's kind of warm in this room. Like
It's the hoodie.
Maybe it's the
Hoodie
hoodie.
D's.
It's the blueberry vibe. So we're in a battle for our values as a society right now. I don't know if we can really take a moderate stance on that.
And I hope one day we somehow compromise and realize that being in the middle and actually having change be an option, be worthwhile, and like be on the table and be.
Now here's the problem though. I think the majority of Americans buy into a set of common values around inclusiveness and equality of opportunity and allowing people to live their lives however they want to live them, relatively unhindered. We just have to make sure that the majority of the electorate matches the majority of the population. Make sure that the majority of the people that are voting and participating in the political process is similar ideologically and value-wise to the majority of the overall population that I think like believes in that sort of common decency. And I think the way that we do that is through democratic reforms that make it easier to register, easier to vote. Maybe we make some adjustments to this electoral college so that people don't feel like if they're living in a state like Texas that their vote's a throwaway vote. Although after the last midterm elections, I don't know how you could feel that way, because I feel like Texas is almost a swing state. You don't see that?
No, I'm shaking my head to the idea of Texas as a swing state.
But like, there's no reason why we can't like take some of these electoral structures like that maybe made a little bit more sense in the late 1700s, but we haven't really adjusted that much in the last 250 years, and make some tweaks to them to where people feel a little bit more invested in that system and want to participate in it more.
If it were up to me, I would keep the electoral college, but make it more proportional, take off the winner take all, but that could change everything because our U.S. election system is based on winner take all. But I would much rather have like a proportional system, so like Texas having 36 electoral votes, if it's like 60-40.
Isn't that the theme of this whole thing? Is like we have winner take all because we like that direct confrontation without nuance. Who cares what the actual vote count was? Who cares if it's 51-49, 60-40, whatever? We just want these two sides to fight to the death, and at the end of it, we're going to have one definitive winner, regardless of substance or nuance or anything like that. But you're right. And any candidate that's not leading with how we're going to make sure that like the majority of the electorate is representative of the majority of what this country actually is, like they're not going to be able to pass any of the other reforms around environmental policy, education policy, healthcare policy. So they're not leading with ways to make our democracy more inclusive. None of the rest of the stuff can happen because they're not addressing the polarization issue that you would have to address for our government to be able to actually function again.
Let me check it real quick. I do have a. Well, we are having a sterile.
We were having a sterile for a
we're
second.
at 29.
What are you? You're thinking something. What are you thinking?
No, for me, I would prefer the proportional system. So like if it's 36 votes in Texas, it's 60-40. Trump gets 20. Hillary gets 60. So like
But you know what's the problem with that? Then wouldn't the candidates spend more time in the big cities, in different states, and have a more population and it's more proportional?
That would force them to go and talk with even rural places too, so that they could get votes. That's what I think.
We're at 30 exactly, so we can do
sports.
No, you want to do
not sports? No.
Do you want to do the questions they asked on Twitter?
Oh my God, yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. I did have a question about you.
Yeah.
You said that we have to get people to care about a certain issue, but it's hard because you can have momentum for like a few weeks, a few months, and then after a while it just fizzles out. And it's just like with the ITC plant fires, there were people outraged calling for, or why were these plants allowed to pay off the violations? And like you look now that the smoke cloud is gone, you don't really hear about it a lot.
I mean, that's another byproduct of I think social media is because you're standing in line while you get your mocha frappa latte and you're just like scrolling through your Twitter moments and you're scrolling through the headlines and stuff like that. Like there is some big thing happening in the world every day, whether it's Notre Dame burning down or whether it's the Mueller report being released or whether it's like a poison cloud consuming the
Our
city.
minds don't. We're not focused on
right.
anything
And so like something might like push through for a day, but then like something else is gonna happen somewhere in the world that's gonna get a lot of coverage, and we're gonna look at it, and while we're in line for our little coffee treat, and we're gonna move on to the next thing. But I think that's, you know, I mean, like, I think that's part of what turns people off to politics and wanting to politically participate is they want instant gratification, but influencing policy is painstakingly incremental. And so, like, if you wanted to make it to where poison clouds weren't engulfing the city, like, you would have to have, you know, town halls, and you'd have to develop some strategy to try to put pressure on the state government to actually regulate these plants the way that they should, and put pressure on the federal government to regulate these plants the way that they should. And it takes time, and it takes money, and it takes resources, and people are like, I'd rather get my hot take about it, get a couple retweets, and call it a day. And maybe, you know, the poison cloud's gone now, so we're probably all okay, right?
Right.
But eventually we're going to hit the point, and it seems like, at least with environmental policy, it might be like sooner as opposed to later, where we can't just keep pushing it off, and it's not going to just keep being okay.
Trump took off red tape too recently. When he came down with Crosby, and taking off red tape means that he took off rules and regulations basically. So it's easier for them to pollute than like do sketchy stuff.
Now what's really easy is to go on Twitter and be like, something needs to be done about this ITC fire. I mean, I think I even said that. And I got my likes and I got my retweets, and I was like, oh, that feels good.
I said that
Shout out to my followers, and then
pretty sure I said something like that too.
Yeah, we all did it because we feel like the world wants to hear our reaction
like there
to
was
it.
a volcano when you look up in the sky. We're living close to an island of a volcano.
Right, we want to share that moment together. We want to see that other people acknowledge our ideas and our thoughts.
What's even more messed up is that like literally a same incident happened like a few weeks later, and it wasn't like as outrageous of a reaction as the first one that happened.
Well, so here's an interesting question. So with Facebook used to be the social media thing, and everybody was on Facebook, and it was cool to be on Facebook. And then I really do. Well, MySpace was the one before that, and then MySpace kind of went away, and people gravitated towards Facebook. And Facebook was really cool, and everybody was on Facebook. But now I feel like when I go on Facebook, it's just a bunch of tumbleweeds. Like nobody gets on Facebook anymore, and I think that started with the 2016 like election stuff, and how like all of these like Russians were on there like trying to target and like Facebook, and then all this stuff came out about how like Facebook's privacy policies allowed them to peddle our data and peddle our information. There's even a way that you can look up on Facebook what they think your political ideology is. So if you go into the settings, it will tell you whether they think that you're like conservative, liberal, or moderate.
Didn't you make us do that for class? Or no, that was
I didn't make you get on Facebook, but like Facebook will tell you if you go into the settings and click around a little bit, based on all of the things that you posted and liked and everything like that, it will tell you what your political, and then they sell that to companies, so that companies can figure out like how they want to do their ad buys and everything like that, and then people realize like, okay, Facebook will sell my data to anybody. They'll allow foreign governments to come in here and try to influence the outcome of an election. All this is just like a big advertising scheme. And so people started leaving Facebook, and they're like, I don't really want to do that as much anymore. Now people are still on Facebook, but I don't think as much as used to be. What would have to happen for people to turn their back on social media? Anything?
The internet shuts down, 4G goes down, LTE, Wi-Fi goes down.
You don't think that like there is like an event or a set of circumstances or a trend that happens over time that would make us turn our backs on Twitter and social media?
Dopamine has us hooked.
Or make us like redefine how we use it. So we're just all in on this path, and there's no stopping it.
There's probably something that can stop it. I just can't think of it.
Well, something stopped the like Facebook is starting to kind of slow down. I mean, I say that, but they have like 1 billion
there will be something else,
visits up.
But then that's just because there's other stuff that will replace it. So if Twitter doesn't become as popular, there'll be something else that's just as popular.
Why? Why do we need that?
That's just how we are.
because we like getting attention, and we like thinking that we're being heard or express ourselves.
What did they do like 100 years ago?
They used to write letters and put them on the town hall and try to.
Right. I guess they just took selfies, but it took like a month for the camera to work.
Nailing his thesis.
Oh, that's true. That was like that. Yeah. I mean, that wasn't a tweet because I think it was more than 240 characters or whatever it is.
But different, and it's a whole bunch of. It's about different topics. It doesn't matter if you say something. Say, especially me, if I say something about sports, I'm gonna get quoted by some angry Oklahoma City Thunder fan. Oh, James Harden.
Well, that's an interesting thing. So, like, before social media, if I wanted to like get my idea out there, I had to get it published, which means that like it had to not be complete gobbledygook word vomit. And now, like, you can just self-publish anything, and it could just be like complete crap, like the Earth is flat, and you can publish it. Whereas in the past, you wouldn't have been able to publish that.
So you want to go with the question?
Sure. I don't even remember what they were because that was a while back.
Well, I'll read them and I'll edit to where they can see it on the video. So let's just go.
Really?
Yeah, I'll screenshot them.
Are you just gonna hold your computer? What
No,
you're gonna edit
no.
it?
I'll screenshot it and then I'll like put it in.
You know they can make videos now where you can like edit the videos and make it look like people said stuff that they didn't really say. That's the end of society right there.
Well, they've always been able to do that. At least for a
Okay.
decade. At least for a decade. For a while, since like Photoshop happened, they started being able to
yeah,
apply
but
it
it
to
didn't
video.
didn't look good. Like it didn't look like it wasn't passable.
Well, what do you
could
think
tell.
about AI and all the artificial intelligence is starting to?
I don't know. A lot of times when I talk to Alexa, she didn't know what I'm talking about. So like, automation is something that like we need to worry about because there are more and more like industries and sectors within our economy that are automating because of AI, and we need to figure out like how to retrain those communities that are based around those industries so that we don't end up with like a Rust Belt situation in 2016. And I mean that was part of the pathway for Trump right there. So that part of it is like we have to deal with, but like the whole machines are going to eventually replace everything that we do.
Maybe later.
I don't think that that's realistic. I think what's more realistic is like the Ready Player One thing, where we all decide like it's no longer fun to actually exist in reality, so we're just gonna like get a little trailer, go into virtual reality all day, and just hang out there.
But have you seen some of the stuff? Have you ever heard of Sophia the Robot? It's like those robots that have personality. Like it basically acts like a human, and some of that stuff is crazy. Like,
what do you mean it has a personality?
Let me show you the video.
What is it? What do you mean by personality?
It's creepy.
It's like talks like a normal human being, but it's a robot.
They should burn it. Like
it's like Westworld.
And even it freaked a lot of people out like a few years ago because it did a joke that it was gonna destroy all humans or something.
Wasn't there like there was a thing in Houston where they were gonna have like a sex shop that was like robots, like you could go have like sex with robots.
And a whole bunch of people.
Or did I just dream
no,
that?
no,
I didn't just dream that.
Here we go. They had it on one of those morning shows.
Yes. Good morning, Britain.
That doesn't act like a person at all. This is ridiculous.
But it's an early stage.
She is smart, isn't she?
Welcome to Britain. It's lovely to have you with us.
No, I'm not worried.
Not worried?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not worried.
You don't even think it's creepier?
it is a bit creepy.
Well, because like a lot of having a personality and a lot of communicating is like the verbal, but also the non-verbal parts of it. So like her facial expression, her face is all over the place. She's like, I've got a joke, knock, knock. Like it's not, there's too many different dimensions of who we are for them to be able to map that out.